Happy Wednesday, guys. Welcome into PuckTime on WagerTalk TV. Andrew McInnis, Carmine Bianco, and we are joined shortly by none other than Mr. Brian Leonard, breaking down Detroit and Florida. We got a handful of games today, guys. We're going to touch on all of them. And shout out to all of you guys that are here live in the comment section or to tune in afterwards. We appreciate you guys all as well. Guys, a smaller slate today in the NHL, but one that we can certainly make some money on. I don't love a lot of sides today, but I do have some props that I like for you. So looking forward to cashing some tickets. And speaking of which, I know Carm cashed the ticket yesterday easily with the Preds and Toronto over. I had a great night myself, including a nice empty net goal with 4 seconds to go. When it's going well, it's going well. And we got that empty net goal for the team total over the Vegas Golden Knights. So a real good day yesterday, and we keep on rolling. Carm, you just needed one team, man, yesterday for your over. 7 goals for the Maple Leafs. How about that bounce back game?
Yeah, I love the spot yesterday. I'll be on the screen eventually. Wow, yeah. How much screen time do you need where I got it? It's just voiceovers, Andrew. But yeah, no, listen, I love the spot yesterday. And I thought we were going to see a lot of goals in that game, and it worked out to the best. I don't know why I look a little crooked on that screen. Let's just fix that up a little bit for you guys. But it gets there, and then I stayed up just because I wanted to see the Anaheim Ducks and see if they could do it as our bankroll builder play. And once again, the Ducks fall into a 2-0 hole and claw their way back into that game. So I was pretty happy about that. Everyone, I think, was happy about that. Yes, the bird is upstairs. It's hopefully a little quiet. Jake, I do not have any pizza with me right now, but it sounds like a fantastic idea for lunch today is some pizza. And just looking for another good day today. I will have a bankroll play today. It'll be half the size, unit-wise, of what I normally do. It'll be instead of a $200 flat bet, it'll be a $100 flat bet, but we'll have that at the end of the show. And we're going to cover all 4 games today. Andrew and I are going to do Buffalo and Ottawa to kick it off. Brian Leonard comes in to tackle the Florida Panthers and Detroit Red Wings. Andrew and I will finish it off with St. Louis, Chicago, Calgary, Utah, and then, of course, the play of the day, and we will sign off. But yeah, I'm happy to get the clients. A lot of people bought that play yesterday as part of $5 Tuesdays Customer Appreciation Day. So I thank you all, of course, for being a part of it, and to all you guys who are in the chat as well, too. So with that said, Andrew, we got to hit this. And okay, you know what? I would be remiss if I didn't say this, because I did say on yesterday's show, the Seattle Kraken, and you and I are going to see completely different on this, but that's no way was that a holding penalty on Marchment that gave Montreal a chance to tie it up very late in the game and send it to OT where they won it. It's like the Kansas City Chiefs referees. You guys had the officiating crew on that one. Beach, I think, was the official Canadian, of course. I don't know. You guys kind of stole one there, Andrew.
I've got my answer, Carm. I've got my answer.
Okay. I know you got your answer. Go ahead.
On with this. There's 2 things. Number one, anybody that watched the game, there was an icing call that should have been negated, because I think that Lane Hudson beat his man all the way to the hash mark, which is supposed to negate the icing. But number 2, I got to ask you this, Carm.
Aren't you violin ever?
Aren't you tired of seeing slashing calls being made just because a player's stick drops on the ground? Like, this person had the grip of a 4-year-old on their stick. Caulfield taps their stick and it falls out of their hand, and immediately the second a referee sees that, they call it. It's like the easiest. It's the diving version of NHL. Honestly, it really is, because if you are good at dropping, like, you have a light grip on your stick and it drops, then it's easily, the referee looks over. Oh, that guy's stick is on the ground. It has to be a slashing call. So that's the one. I'm not going to say you're wrong, but I know you can agree with me on this one, that Caulfield not really the biggest guy. He skates by somebody, taps their stick, and it drops to the ground. That's not really slashing. Come on now.
So it is. Yeah, I get it, Andrew. Listen, these are like $400 and $500 sticks right now. Bring me back to the old days of the Coho wooden sticks that when we broke them growing up as kids in an Italian family, my mom just cut the blade off of it and used them for tomato sticks in the garden. Anyone who is old will know what that is. You stuck that stick in the garden, they tied a little wrap around it, and they made the tomatoes grow and stuff. And playing hockey, this is how I age myself. When my stick broke, you know what we did? We cut off the bottom of it and we put the plastic blade on.
Yes, I got it.
Then you heated up the oven or the thing, and you put the curve on it. That is the olden days of how you used to play hockey. Not this $500 stick now that you breathe on it and it snaps in half. But
all right,
I'll be remiss. Anyways, with that said, Ottawa Senators -121. The Buffalo Sabres even money at home. Total sits here at 6, Andrew. And we now know, I think he's out for 4 weeks. I did see the slash, or not the slash, when he went in pretty much head first, but hands first into the boards, Brady Tkachuk of the Ottawa Senators. And he did stay on the ice for the power play, but it looks like he's out for 4 weeks. How does that affect this team, and how does that affect your handicapping?
Well, Carm, I mean, looking at this one here, it's one of those types of situations where you kind of think that maybe a team will rally around the injured player theory, right? Maybe a team can rally around the fact that Brady Tkachuk is out and it's not going to be easy without him. But I really think people forget that he is the heart and soul of the team. Like he is that guy. But the problem is, Carm, I hate the way he got injured. Like, I know injuries can happen in so many different ways. He got injured in a scuffle. He got injured in pushing players around, and maybe it was a hard check he took a little bit as well from Yossi, and he had to brace himself to catch himself along the boards. I don't like the way he ended up even getting that injury, but a lot of times teams do rally around each other. But it's the Buffalo Sabres coming in 0-3, and this number, it seems weird, Carm. It seems like a short price. Like, it's the same thing. I mean, it was -105 on the road for the Sabres against the Bruins. And now without Brady Tkachuk, it's only -120, for the visiting Senators here. It seems a bit confusing. And I think at this point, if you're betting on the Buffalo Sabres, you're betting on them doing something they haven't really done before. And I think that if you want to bet on them doing something they haven't done before, you might as well just take the over, because they're going to give up goals. They've proven they're going to give up goals. And what bothers me the most about the Sabres so far, Carm, is that they've actually had good goaltending so far. Like, look at the games they've played. They've had some games where their goalies have played well, and they still didn't even do anything about it. So I do think we could see goals early on. You got a goalie making his first career start, I believe, for Buffalo. But you've got Ottawa coming off a game where they gave up a ton of goals against Nashville. Might not get much better. But I've got one play that I like here, Carm, and just one play that I'm going to mention. It's a player prop. And I wanted to bring this up because some players, they play better, or not better, but they do well in filling in for certain roles. And I want to bring this up here. This is Drake Batherson's numbers. And his last 6 games, he has recorded at least 1 point when Brady Tkachuk has been out of the lineup. To me, that's pretty cool, like, to look at. Like, you can go on certain websites, you can find stats to look at how certain players perform when another player isn't in the lineup. And when Brady Tkachuk is out of the lineup, Drake Batherson has gotten at least 1 point in 6 straight games. Now, he makes his return to the lineup today. Zetterlund, Stützle, and Batherson projected to be the top line right winger. I hate to give out a chalky, well, not even really chalky, -145, but I feel like Drake Batherson comes into the game and immediately makes an impact. So sometimes players need to step up when a player goes out, and I feel like he's the guy to step up immediately coming into the game here, Carm.
Yeah, no, Andrew, I get that. It's sort of the next man up mentality. This is one of those games where I look at it a couple of ways, and I can see where when you talk about goals, I can see where that logic or that thought process comes from. The Ottawa Senators, you look at it, if the Sabres are going to beat a team, and they haven't done a great job of it, they actually played very well against the Colorado Avalanche, but that given, they still lost that game 3-1 I think it was on Monday, and the difference in that game was McInnis. Definitely, he was the Sabres just couldn't handle him, couldn't handle his speed, couldn't handle him in the offensive zone. But the Sabres, in their 2 losses at home, have only scored 1 goal. They were shut out by the Rangers. They lose 3-1 to Colorado, but they're generating some XG. They generated just a little over 2.5 XG. And for those of you tuning in who don't know what XG means, it means expected goals. And it's a good indicator of if it's a high number and a team isn't scoring, eventually those lines on a graph will cross. And when you see a team scoring get closer to what their XG is, that is usually normally a signal that you want to make them a bet on team. Sabres just haven't been scoring, but now they get an Ottawa team that they've beaten 4 straight games in the regular season. They've scored at least 3 goals in each of those games. And this is an Ottawa team that thus far this year has been taking some dumb penalties. Travis Green can't be happy with how this team is playing right now, Andrew. In spite of getting a win to start off, I think in Tampa, the game against Florida, they took some dumb penalties. They definitely took them against Nashville. They've got to be better from that perspective, because if you keep giving teams power plays, you're going to get scored on eventually. So there's only so much that a guy like Linus Ullmark could eventually do. The one thing that hurts the Sabres is, and I talked about this when Prez was on the show, is it's Alex Lyon again. And I'm not saying Alex Lyon is a bad goalie, Andrew, but he's not their number one. Pekka Luukkonen is their number one. He's injured. And so it's been all Alex Lyon thus far. They need to get a 1-2 goalie combo in. One guy can't take the brunt of it. So we'll see what happens. But I have a feeling it's not a client play that the Sabres get the victory tonight. So give me the Sabres into this one at even money.
All right. You know what, Carm? Dave Koken used to say, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he used to say, when a line seems fishy, that's the side you want to be on. And You've got an 0-3 Buffalo Sabres team against an Ottawa Senators team that has projections to be much higher, and yet the number is so short. It does seem a bit weird, does seem a bit fishy here. We miss Dave every day, and I always think of games like this, or Dave, when I look at games like this, because it does seem like kind of a weird number here for an 0-3 team. This kind of reminds me of NFL. Those stats we saw from Ralph, like 0-2 versus a 1-2 or whatever, start of the season. It's like, how many games in a row will the Buffalo Sabres lose? Find out next time. We'll see if they can keep going.
Listen, and I get it, Andrew. The thing is, and this is why I say to everyone, try not to be reactionary with some of these games, especially early on. Sometimes a good team is going to lose 2 or 3 to start the season, and it doesn't mean that you want to start betting against them. You look at the Oilers a couple of years back, or with their team. Like they lost, I think, 6 of 7 out of the gate, 10 of 12. Make a coaching change and end up in the Stanley Cup Finals. So maybe they were a bet against team early on, but you don't want to bet against them when they start to win. And they did win 16 in a row at one point before, unfortunately, that Christmas All-Star break or whatever came about.
Yeah.
But speaking of guys who love to streak, let's bring in the one, the only, Brian Leonard. There it is. There he is, looking as, my God, if I had hair like that, dude, I wouldn't even be on puck time. I'd be out at a bar at like 11 a.m. just flashing my hair back and forth or whatever.
Brian, when are you going to give some of your hair to Carm? Honestly,
that's what I said. I'm going to get a haircut Thursday. Does he want my clippings? I don't know. I offered it to Marco. He was pretty upset about it.
Yeah, I'm I'm gonna go to Turkey and come back from Turkey in like 6 months' time, and I'm gonna have like a full head of hair. I'll just look like whatever. I'll look like one of you guys. But we need a little boldness on this show. It's like the Oreo cookie with the I'm the cream in the middle there. So it's what it is. Bri, Florida and Detroit, and then we'll get to some other stuff in a minute. The Panthers minus 141. Detroit plus 116 off back-to-back wins against the Leafs. One deservedly, one they stole. But as I mentioned before, you win the games you're supposed to win and then steal a few of the ones you're not supposed to win. And that is the recipe for making the playoffs. What do you like in this one?
Yeah, it definitely is. You've got to beat the teams you should beat and then hang in with the other teams. And they've done that so far. I do have concerns about Florida, though. The back-to-back defending champions, they've gotten off to a nice 3-1 start on the season, but they've only outscored the opposition by 3 goals. But, 3 of those games were at home, and the opposition was Chicago, Philadelphia. So far on the season, they played Chicago, Philadelphia twice, and Ottawa. That's not the best the conference has to offer, especially right now with the injury in Ottawa. They'll probably lose more games than they were hoping to, at least. But without Barkov, Kachuk, Nosek, and Kulikov, this team is fighting an uphill battle. Yes, the names on the jerseys are still going to say Florida Panthers, and they do have some good depth on this team. But this is not the same team that's won the championship the last 2 years. And I think because of all of their success, you're paying a little bit of a premium here. Sort of like being in LA or New York when it comes to baseball. You're always going to play a premium for those teams. I think Florida has earned the premium, no doubt about it. They've been the best team the last 2 years, and they have fared very well against this team. They've won 9 of 11 in Detroit, and overall they have dominated this series. But, they are in the middle of a second game of a 5-game road trip here. And if you take a look at Detroit, that would be the team that would probably have this game circled. If you've gotten beat up by a team for many years and many times, and now they come in really banged up, you have to take advantage of that. And Detroit, right now, they're 2-1 on the season, and they played the tougher competition. They played Montreal, and as you mentioned, they played Toronto twice. So this is the first of 3 straight at home for Detroit. I think this is a big game for them here. And the only problem I find is they got Gibson on in net today against Bobrovsky. Obviously, the host is in the negative in that situation. Bobrovsky is much better than Gibson. But if you looked at Gibson's first game, a lot of the problems he had were not of his own making. The defense just did not give him any help in that game. So I'm looking to play something with Detroit here, either splitting the money line with the puck line. Normally, I'd just stick with the money line, but because they have such a bad record against Florida, maybe the puck line comes into that as well. Not willing to lay the 200 on the plus 1.5 for a full bet, but a combination, sort of like a -1 type of thing you would do in baseball. I think that could get you some money here. I prefer the Detroit side.
Yeah, Brian, Carm and I talked about it for years that we thought that Gibson needed to be moved. Like somebody had to grab him. Carm was the one that was all over it. Like someone's got to go out and get Gibson. But Craig, maybe this is a wrong comparable here. And hopefully I'm wrong about this as well, because this pitcher is starting game 4 for the Blue Jays. But, Max Scherzer was once a great pitcher. But every pitcher loses their strength and ends up having a bad ERA. Well, if you wait too long to trade for John Gibson, his GAA is going to be pretty bad. And so I kind of worry that the Detroit Red Wings thought they solved their problem by picking up John Gibson. And then all of a sudden, it's like, hey, guys, do you remember how old he is? So you should have traded for him 3 years ago. So I wanted to, you already touched on, I wanted to ask if that was a problem for you. But the one thing that stood out to me for this game that worried me, I'm not trying to be the Teddy Covers with the follow-up question, but the fact that Detroit and Toronto are so close to each other that how much those games mean to Detroit to beat Toronto, and those back-to-back victories for them. even though it is a big game against Florida, does it worry you at all that they were just like so up for those games against Toronto?
No, I think it's too early in the season in that regard. And I've never played professionally, but I played softball for many, many years. And if you play a team that has your number, and you look over at that sideline, and these guys that have killed you are not on that sideline, that gives you the opportunity to say, hey, this is the chance for us to get there. Now, who knows what's going to happen before the game or when the game's played, but I don't see that as a negative for Detroit here. I think it's a positive. And you talked about the injury to Ottawa in that first game, and since we're talking about each other's games here, with the injury to Tkachuk on that team, is that going to help the opposition's offense, or from a defensive standpoint, do you think that makes a difference in that game?
Carm, for me, I think it's going to help the other team because he's so damn hard to play against. I mean, he is just so hard to play against. So it's similar to like Marner, honestly, even though Tkachuk is more of a tougher guy and Marner is more of a skills guy. But people don't often correlate forwards not being there anymore with defense. They just think defensemen mean defense, but forwards have to play defense too. So it's a good question. We'll find out, I guess, Brian. We'll find out.
I think it's the leadership that they end up missing in the end. They've got a lot of good guys in that dressing room, but I think the leadership from that point is what ends up hurting them. You know what I mean? The thing about you're looking at some teams, and you talk about like you mentioned like scoring, Brian, is you look at Detroit in their games thus far, and they've played, 3 games? They've created 9.4 XG, scored 10 goals. So when I talked about creating XG and following up with actually scoring the amount of goals that you're creating, they're right there. They're right on the line of they are doing exactly what needs to be done and taking advantage of their chances. And I'll use another example is last night, for the first time in NHL history, a team started the season with 3 straight shutouts on home ice. The New York Rangers have not scored a goal in 3 games at home. But if you've watched the games, and I have, the game against the Oilers, they played extremely well. Probably one of their best games they've played. The game prior to that, they looked good. The Rangers have created at home in 3 games 9.28 of XG and have 0 goals scored. Now, it's easy to write off the Rangers and say this team is terrible because you bet on it, so you get frustrated and you see that they're not scoring and it pisses you off even more. This is where I talk about a team that at some point is going to break out, and you've got to keep an eye on it because the minute they start to score some goals, the gap between the XG created and the goals actually scored is going to shorten. Thoughts, Brian?
Yeah, I agree. They're a much better team than what you have seen out of the actual results. I almost got there with Edmonton yesterday, and I saw, I pay a lot of attention to the short books. They had the best line right before game time. I think they were laying 116 or something, or 119 on Edmonton on the road, where a lot of places were at 135. And I don't think Pinnacle is the NHL go-to source when it comes to wise guy action. But to lay that, and they were a good 6 points or 6 cents off of any other place across there. So they were looking for some money on the road visitor there, Edmonton. And I wish I'd have gotten in early enough to get part of that. But they're a very good team. The Rangers are a very good team. And you're going to find this once in a while. They'll go on the road, they score 7 goals, come home, score 0. And I think in the long run, it all evens out when you look at home road in that situation, especially if it's a veteran team.
Yeah, I was joking around with Andrew this morning and talking about that Anaheim game last night and their win against Pittsburgh on the late power play goal. I'm like, Chris Kreider got the game-winning goal. Man, the Rangers could really use a guy like Chris Kreider. But who knows what happens in New York? It's kind of like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, except for whatever. venereal diseases. Those
You don't
ones
wanna
follow
go
you
with
home.
that. We'll just
Okay,
stop you right
Brian.
there, Carm. We'll stop you right there.
That's right.
Brian, with that said, tell us what you have up at WagerTalk and any promos that you want to toss out there.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll get anywhere in hockey today. All the numbers are pretty close to the way I made it. The one I gave you is I'll probably use that as a free play. In baseball, I do have a play up there right now, and we've been very good in baseball this year, obviously. And in the playoffs, I think we're up about 13 net units yet so far, and I've got a nice 3-star play up there, a 3-unit play in Major League Baseball, and once again, number one in the history of WagerTalk in hockey and Major League Baseball net profit. And but I love the show. I love the way you guys are going over the games. And I just wanted to make the reason why I asked about the Tkachuk thing was I thought his physicality would help the Buffalo offense a little bit because they don't have to worry about that. And Andrew had already mentioned he kind of like them to be able to score. That's something I also like in hockey today. Maybe the Buffalo team total over.
And we had a comment saying how well that Buffalo's actually done. I think 5-1 last 6 against Ottawa. So, hey, maybe it's a day for them to find their offense. Who knows, Brian? I wanted to bring this up as well for us. We've got an awesome deal here with buying 2026, get the rest of 2025 on the house. Great deal as well. 90 days of action-packed sports here. The rest of MLB with Brian, college football, NHL, all kinds of great stuff. And then, of course, we have a 7 days for $77. That was gone. It expired, and I believe it's back now once again. So there's all kinds of packages available right now. WT.buzz/BL. And Brian, love talking hockey with you. I feel like between me, you, and Carm, we all bring something different with hockey handicapping. And that's my favorite part about this is that 3 people can look at a game, look at it different ways, and come up with different picks. And that's what makes it so awesome. So good to see you as always, Brian.
Thank you. Good luck, guys.
Carm.
Yeah, Andrew, if you, I, and Brian were running the Buffalo Sabres organization, I think we could get them into the playoffs. Or at the very least, just bet every single over in the game because I'd be pulling the goalie in the third period and playing the whole third period 6-on-5. With that said, let's head to a game, Andrew, in St. Louis. Blues. Look at this price, man. The Blues, I cashed on a play of the day with them at plus 102, plus 104. But minus 232 here against the Chicago Blackhawks, plus 187 is the take back on the Hawks. Total sits here at 5.5. Give me your thoughts on this one.
My thoughts are, what the hell's going on with this price here? That's my thought. I mean, this is just a little bit of a number here that I don't know if I want to really be involved in when it comes down to it. I mean, looking at this game, I'm tempted to play the Chicago Blackhawks in this spot. I really am. And, you got the Blackhawks coming off that 3-1 victory. You have this St. Louis Blues team. The last 2 games for them, it's looked like a breeze. I mean, you called that great one for them against the Vancouver Canucks. They beat the Calgary Flames. I mean, they didn't look good in their first game. They got slapped around 5 ways all game long against the Minnesota Wild. Since then, they've looked pretty good. And they're really well coached with Jim Montgomery. And you know what? As situational cappers, I mean, you can really say, oh, maybe there's no such thing as flat spots or look aheads and all that stuff early in the season. I think we can all agree, though, that there are some games that mean more than others. And I think I don't want to compare the 2 teams, but a lot of people came into Montreal last year, Carm, and didn't take them serious. And people are saying now the Canadians are going to have more of a target on their back. Well, I think Chicago is going to be that team that might catch teams off guard. They're better than they were last year, but no one's going to really take them serious. So I'm looking at maybe a Chicago first period money line. Maybe we'll get some goals from them early on. And the best part is here, maybe I don't have it in me to play the full game money line, Carm. Maybe I just don't have the stones to do that, if we're allowed to say that on WagerTalk programming. But I think I want to look at the first period team total over. I'm trying to get the number here, but I can't find it while I'm live on the show. Here we go, minus 120. So I know we're turning a plus price into a minus here, but the first period money line is plus 160, and the first period team total over a half goal is minus 120. So kind of interested in that. We're pretty much banking on a good 20 minutes out of the Chicago Blackhawks. You cashed the ticket with the Blues last time out, Carm. Can they do it again?
I think they're going to win. I wouldn't play against the St. Louis Blues. I just, especially at home, Andrew, where they're extremely tough. Like, they lost that game to, I think it was to Minnesota, which snapped a 15 game or more win streak on home ice. They play so well at home. Defend at home. Make it tough for teams that are coming in to beat you, and you're going to make the playoffs if you can win some on the road, but you win a majority of your games at home, and that's how you get into the playoffs. All the good teams do it, and the St. Louis Blues were doing it at the end of last season and even in the playoffs where they won their games at home. So, with that said, it's tough to go against them. Do I want to take the 232? Likely not. I would think that if you were dead set on playing this game, and I'm not trying to advocate parlays or what have you, but you probably take the two teams that I believe should win tonight, which is the Blues and Utah. And I'm not sure if that 232 and a 227 can pretty much get you even money or not. I was just about to calculate that right now. I think it's too early in the season to start delving into like puck lines, just because we're seeing, someone asked me about the puck line in the Leafs game yesterday, and I said I wouldn't take it until the Leafs start to gel as a team. Now, they scored 7 goals, but there were some empty netters mixed in there as well too, and against a backup goalie in Justin Annunen. So we shall see. But I'm shying away from any puck lines right now. Maybe that game is a complete pass for me on St. Louis. But if you're going to take it, if you want to bet, I haven't asked. So my lean guys, I'm going to say it is I'm going to pass on the game. But if you do want to take it, I would think the Blues in Utah, which we're going to discuss next, as a 2-teamer is probably a good idea if you can get even money on it. Here's my question for you, Andrew.
Yep. Sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No.
Is Connor Bedard? We are into what, season 3 of Connor Bedard? He was supposed to be, and I get it, it's the Chicago Blackhawks, not a lot of talent on that team throughout the lineup, even though they do have some players. He was supposed to be the next generational player, the talent, the next Connor McDavid, the next Nate McKinnon. It hasn't come to fruition as of yet. And do you think it's because of where he is in that with that organization?
Well, some people think that he can't drive a line himself. And I've actually heard rumblings. Some people think he'd be better off as a winger than a centerman. So it's tough. But when you look at the lineup for the Blackhawks, it also makes you question, like, hey, is this lineup good enough? Are they surrounding him with enough talent? But every single player should be able to create goals on their own if you're a number 1 draft pick, if you're a number 1 guy. I feel bad for him because, you know what? Last year, Macklin Celebrini comes into the league, Carm, and every single Canadian was like, oh, no, this young kid is better. If one player should be on the Olympic team, it should be Macklin and not Connor. It's tough because I kind of compare like San Jose and Chicago to like the same team, except for I think San Jose is doing the rebuild the right way. I mean, right now, both teams have a ton of talent around them. This year, Chicago was a lot more talented than they were last year. But I think that mentality-wise, Connor just needs to see other guys around him do better. Like Ryan Donato and Frank Nazar and some of those guys being around will certainly help him out. But we'll see, Carm, because they need him to be the all-star that he is. He didn't sign a deal this year, right? Typically you sign a deal going into your final year of your contract. He didn't do that. So obviously they're going to sign him, but he's trying to put on a showcase and absolutely, sign the bag. So we'll see what ends up happening here. Do you have any more comments on that? If not, I got a funny graphic I want to bring up.
Okay. So my only comment is the guy's got talent. I don't think it's been completely unleashed the way it's supposed to. It's going to be it might take a couple of years. I don't even think, Andrew, I'm going to go as far as saying I don't even believe he is going to be on Team Canada's Olympic roster. I don't see it. Maybe the next one around, I see in the 4 years time or what have you, but I just don't see him making the Team Canada, and that's a hard thing for a guy that young and with that much talent. And then one quick note. That parlay pays 106 plus 106. So if you're taking the St. Louis Blues and Utah, and that's at minus 232 and minus 227, which are the consensus numbers right now, I will say this, guys: if parlays are hard to hit, it's tough enough to pick one game, never mind 2 or 3 or 4. If you're going to play one, don't lay vig. You should always be getting plus money back. Because if you have to pick multiple legs, 2 or more, and you're laying vig, you are just going to destroy your bankroll. Anyways,
yeah, it's not
go
good.
to your graph.
Not good. All right, Carm, it's not really that serious, but because I get to control things behind the scenes today, which is why you've seen some mishaps so far, I thought I would bring this up, and I thought you'd be able to get a laugh at it with me here. Oh, that's the wrong graphic. See, there we go. We're already messing up. We're already messing up. Hold on. Bear with me. Everybody, hold on. Bear with me. Hold on. See if we can get this going. All right. All I wanted to do was make fun of the Maple Leafs for a second. It's all I really wanted to do. And I saw so many people tweeting last night like, Matthews is back. Matthews is back. William Nylander's back. Look at this stat. Matthews and Nylander combined 4 goals on an empty net and only 1 goal on a goalie. Everybody is saying, wow, they're going to be just fine without Mitch Marner. Yeah, they're going to be just fine without Mitch Marner when there's no goalie in the net. So you Leaf fans, just remember that they scored 7 goals yesterday, and the only 2 goals these guys scored, well, empty net goals. And yeah, Matthews scored another one, but it was just a tap in. Anyway, that's my shot of the day at the Maple Leafs, Carm. I know you don't want me to get off track, but I thought this was hilarious. 4 goals combined on an empty net and just 1 goal on an actual goalie.
Yeah, Andrew, I'm shocked that you would take a shot at the Toronto Maple Leafs. Like I would never do anything like that personally. You know what I mean? My favorite team is the one that I have money on any given night, and sometimes it's multiple teams, much like tonight because I gotta have 3 plays up for clients. And it'll show up on my page shortly after the show. But let's talk about the Calgary Flames and Utah here. And this is going to be my bankroll building play of the day. So I will start with that, Andrew, and then I'll go to you for your thoughts. So someone had asked, I think, Pocket Sunshine, you're going for half of your normal size. So every bet and every month I will, Andrew, the plan is this: every month I will look at what the new ending balance is, and that becomes the new starting balance, and then it'll be like 4% of that new amount. But it's a 4% of the original starting bankroll right now, which was $5K. So they're all $200 flat bets. Like last night was 200 to win 143. If it is a prop bet, I cut it in half, and it's just a flat $100 prop bet. So with that said, let's get this ready because I'm going to use this one, Andrew, as a short on our YouTube channel. But today's play of the day is not the guy with the big forehead there. Let's try this again. Today's play of the day is none other than the Utah Mammoth team total over 3.5 minus 130. Current bankroll is 53.48. So it's just a flat bet of 100 at odds of minus 130. There are lower prices out there, but all my prices are coming from the same book. It's 113 at some places, 130 at DK. So that's what price I'm going to use. And I'll explain to you why I'm taking this play. First of all, Utah beat Calgary all 3 meetings last season, scoring 5, 5, and 3 in those games. The second of a back-to-back for Calgary. Last year, 9 games On the second of a back-to-back, they win 3-6 and allowed an average of 4 goals, exactly 4 goals per game in those ones. And then the final one it's Devin Cooley starting goal for Calgary tonight. In his limited NHL career, he has made 6 starts, allowed 4 or more goals in 4 of those 6 starts, and allowed 25 total goals in 6 starts. It looks like a very bad spot for the Calgary Flames tonight off of a loss last night to the Vegas Golden Knights, in which they blew a third period lead. Utah, over 3.5 minus 130 is your play of the day. Andrew?
Carm, congrats on that great start, man. That great start to the bankroll builder. 2 great wins. I'll tell you what, that game last night, a little bit of a sweat, but a fun game to watch there with the Anaheim Ducks, a real exciting team. And as you mentioned to Brian, man, if only the Rangers had a player like Chris Kreider that can score the greasy goals.
Did you, before you give me your thoughts on this game, did you see what the Anaheim Ducks did yesterday for their home opener? They gave everyone those duck masks. I absolutely love it. This is, I wouldn't want to walk on a dark street at night with 5 guys behind me with those masks on. I can't run that fast, but in fear of getting mugged. But man, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, Carmen, I feel like you got to go all out, especially if you're sort of a rebuilding team, but they're not really a rebuilding team anymore. They've got faith. They're going to be a lot better. I'll put it this way, guys. This is the only play I've released so far, and I've got props coming, but I'm not sure if I'm going to have a side or total coming out besides this one. So here it is. First period puck line is the move for me on this Utah team. I gave it out on my show last night. The pre-scout, 10 p.m. Eastern, we're live. We're going over games. We're giving picks. And last night, we were literally handicapping live on the show. Didn't have all my picks together, and we decided to handicap together. Shout out to Occupancy. How's it going, WagerTalk? Love the new pre-scout show. Talking about Detroit team total under 2.5. Great stuff there. For me, I am looking at the first period puck line for Utah strictly because of that flat effort they had against the Blackhawks, Carm. And this offense here is going to show up for their home opener at the Delta Center. They are going to get absolutely packed. A lot of noise in that building. I think they're going to get behind their team, and the offensive weapons are going to come ready to play. And you talked about it. This is a team that I'm really, really confident in that can bounce back off poor losses. And when I look at this goaltending situation, to your point, they've got a guy that allowed 13 goals combined in his last 2 starts, and he hasn't started since like 2024. So I'm confident here we'll get off to a good start. Minus a half goal in the first period, plus 115 for the Utah Mammoth. And it's going to get weird getting used to saying the Utah Mammoth, but I kind of like that logo. And I got to give you credit for what you did there with the bankroll play. They're getting the Mammoth up there. It looks real good.
I would like to thank my friends at ChatGPT for doing those graphics for me. But Andrew, the other day, the Mammoth played the Nashville Predators. I saw a tweet that said, "Congratulations to the NHL on your first prehistoric meeting of the NHL season, the Preds and the Mammoth." So that was pretty cool. As well, too, someone made a comment much earlier in the day about this Buffalo Bills hat. If they don't smarten up soon, it's going to go on to the lower shelf, and Sidney Crosby is going to move over to the to where we can see him a little bit better. So, Andrew, 3 plays up for me in the NHL tonight. You can get them over on my page, wt.buzz/CB. The package will be up shortly in the next 5 minutes. The plays are already loaded. And NFL 5% play up for Sunday. If you use the code Sunday10, you can get $10 off of that play as well, too. Let's just see if we can keep on putting some W's in the column for our clients.
Carm, wishing you best of luck. And I think that with this read you had yesterday on the Leafs over and one team scoring 7 goals, you're going to go on a big run here. And I'm excited as well about tonight's prop plays. Not really a lot of sides and totals I love on tonight's slate, but I do like a lot of props. Guys, Usually do well in the preseason. Didn't do well in the preseason this year. Things didn't really go my way. We dropped 9 units in the preseason, but we're off to a really good start as far as the NHL regular season is concerned. This promo code is still active, guys. Promo code NHL200 takes $200 off a full season NHL pass. WT.buzz/AM or WT.buzz/CB for Carmine. Guys, I'm up 21 units already in NHL this regular season. We're cashing tickets. Vegas over 3.5. Washington Capitals money line. We got the first period puck line with the Maple Leafs. It was a good day on Tuesday. We'll manage the bankroll properly. We'll ride our way into a really good season, and I'm feeling awesome, off to a good start. And I think the pre-scouts helped me out a lot, guys. Looking at the games early, 10 p.m. Eastern every single night. You guys can join me on my show. And Carm, not tonight, but tomorrow, guess who's joining me? Chris Otto, the guy with the awesome first period trend,
all right,
joining me on the show.
Yes,
so,
Otto.
Can't wait for that.
Awesome.
Can't wait for that.
But that's good, and maybe you can get one of the referees that officiated yesterday's Montreal Seattle game, and on the show, and see if thank them for giving you that unnecessary penalty that got you guys the tie against the Kraken. But whatever. I digress. Once the Sabres win a game, I can talk.
Yeah, the Sabres on the way to go 0-82. All right, that will do it for today, guys. Let's wrap up the show. Awesome stuff. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button. We appreciate it. Comment below. Let us know who you are betting on this Wednesday night. Find Carmine at WagerTalk, myself at WagerTalk, and always a special thanks to Brian Leonard for joining us here on Puck Time. Best of luck. We'll see you guys next time, same place.